We do with you second part of our example, and our example asks us to do draw frequency histogram and cumulative frequency curve. Before to do it, I would like to discuss with you, remind you that because it's very often students submit assignment and their histogram looks like this, something like this. Column, column, column. This is, by the way, not a histogram. This is bar chart. So bar chart we always draw for when we have ungrouped data. So we have individual data, let's say tensile stress 34.40, and it appears on our table twice. After that we have 34.50, and it appears in our table 4 times. And 34.6 appears in our table 1 times. So for example, we have altogether 7 data, and here their frequency distribution. So this is a bar chart. Histogram we plot always for group data, and so because it's group data and all our classes, the upper boundary for this class becoming lower boundary for next class, we don't have a gaps between columns and histograms. So do not submit me this one if you work with ungrouped data. If you work with ungrouped data, its bar chart is okay. But if you work with group data, we are working with histograms, and it shouldn't be gaps between columns. And usually it's always nice to see histogram against midpoint for each class. It could be boundaries, but it's nice to see midpoint for each class on the column and frequency on vertical axis. So we will do with you the histogram where midpoints on horizontal axis and frequencies for group data for vertical axis. Let's go to Excel and let's do it. So since we will need with you midpoints, we will form one more column, midpoint for each class. To calculate midpoints here is simple. Just remind you, each formula starts with sign equal. What we need to do, we have to add together, so we'll put it in brackets, low boundary, low class boundary plus upper class boundary, and divide it by 2. And because we have to repeat this calculation for all our classes, we can just drag the formula. Right, done. This is our midpoint. We will use them to plot a histogram. So insert. We will start to do with your column chart. Let's say something like this. I will start with empty one because we have lots of columns to do. That's why I didn't select any of them. Now, since we will on our vertical axis we will use frequency, and we are going into date. You can click right button on your mouse. You can go into select the data section. We need to select the data, and for our chart data range we will use frequencies. Right? Done. So you can see the first class contains 2 data, second class contains 3 data, and so on. But we don't want first class, second class. It's more interesting to see here midpoint in megapascals for each class. That's why we will edit our horizontal data and choose midpoints. Much better. Okay. Another thing what we mentioned with you, that we don't want those gaps between columns. Sometimes it's not very convenient to work, but look how to get rid of them. You click on any columns on your chart, and you just get rid of this gap with make it 0. Right. And close this window. So this is our histogram, so you can edit chart title. Histogram, which represent what frequency, you can make it a frequency of frequency histogram, and you can add a legend here that this is horizontal axis is megapascals. So you can see clearly that we don't have any gaps, and we will see how our data distributed. And by the way, all those data we will call normally distributed because most of the data around mid value. All right, and next bit, let's see. So we need cumulative frequency curve. Here is easy. We can use low boundaries, and we can use our cumulative frequency, those data, and if we the only things, guys, I would add here the last one. You know why? Because I will explain it when we will get a curve. First of all, we will have the same amount of y-axis and x-axis. I will hold. If you want to select two columns which are not close to each other, you use Control. And now insert, because it's just a frequency curve, we can use something like this. And maybe, you know what, and again, I will use here upper boundaries just to make it looks prettier. No. So what we need to do here, we have to take this data, and add 0.005. No, sorry, it just should be this data. Okay, so this is low boundary for next class, which we don't have. And look, insert, this is a curve, and here is our cumulative frequency curve. Again, we can change the title. I will just put cumulative frequency. And now, look what we will see here. Our data start with a little bit before 34.44. Yes, just because we have 0 data smaller than this value. We have 2 data smaller than 34. Why it's rounded? It's a little bit used, not my lowest boundaries, but it's okay still. You can see it's a little bit shifted. 34.45, and so on. And we have 15 data smaller, with values smaller than 34.65. All right? And interpretation on frequency cumulative frequency, you can see on other video, which I linked for next slide in PowerPoints. Thank you. Any question, please let me know. Guys, actually, you know what? Let's just, to be honest with you, I don't understand why my 34.395 doesn't appear on horizontal axis automatically. So I just would like to make it. Our first low boundary was 34.395. Look, I just squeeze here my minimum value. I will change it. And so not necessarily, but now you can see that your cumulative frequency exactly corresponding to the table. So we have 0 data with this value. We have 2 data smaller than 34.44. We have 4 data smaller than 34.49, and so on, so on, so on. And 15 data in our table, 15 tensile stress is smaller than 34.64, just because it's upper boundary for the last class. Okay, hopefully it's clear. Good luck.